y'all? It's Young Rick. We back at it with Westside Level. Let's get into it. Today we getting into some bass slash 808 compression. Weapon of choice today is going to be our Universal Audio Fairchild compressor. So before we do any processing, like always, we're just going to listen to the bass, how it sounds before I engage the compressor, and then we're just going to hear how it sounds just running through the compressor. And then we're going to go through some of, we're going to go how to get some good compression out of here. So this is without the compression. This is the 808 introduced into the beat. All right, now let's hear how that sounds with the Fairchild engaged. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on, and then let's hear how the 808 sounds. All right, perfect. It's sounding great. So what I want to start off with this compressor is going to go ahead and be this metering knob. We're going to go ahead and change this to input. And the reason I want to change this metering knob to input is because it's going to now, through this meter, show us how hard our signal is actually running through this unit. And the reason I want to know why, the reason why I want to know how hard the signal is running through this unit is because the harder we hit this Fairchild emulation, the more harmonics that's going to be, the more extra harmonics is going to be introduced into our 808, and it's going to give it a fatter sound. So what I'm going to do right now is, now that I got it set to input with this knob, I'm going to use our input gain and start driving it. So let's go ahead and get that started. All right, now what I want you to pay attention to as I drove this input game is this meter right here. Notice that the with the needle is starting to go up in numbers, and we didn't get to our red where it's clipping, but I just want you to know that it's driving. That's how we know we get some distortion, along with hearing the distortion being added to our ears. I'm sure you could hear how full the bass is starting to sound. So now what I'm going to do is drive our gain stage, our output down, so our levels match. All right, so now I got the Fairchild just about gain stage. So what I did here is I already turned the compressor off, and we're going to hear a before and after. So this is before we drove our input on the Fairchild. And this is after we drove our input on the Fairchild. All right, that sounds a lot more full just by driving our compressor. But again, we need to add some compression. So what I'm going to do now is switch our metering section down to gain reduction, and then I'm going to fix my attention on this threshold knob. So with the threshold, it's a basic threshold. I'm going to drive it down and get some gain reduction. I'm looking to go no further than around like 3 numbers. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so I went ahead and I set our threshold, but before we get into a B of how that sounds with that compression, what I want to fix our attention on is this DC threshold knob. Now, what this basically is a ratio knob and a soft a knee knob, so we could basically control how fast our compression kicks in, but also we can control how hard of a compression we get with the ratio. So the more we turn this knob to the right, which is clockwise, it's going to give us less compression. The more we turn it to the left, we get more compression, and the ratio and the compressor becomes harder. So let's go ahead and set our compressor. Because we're doing a bass, I want some hard compression. I'm going to set this bottom screw all the way to the right. All right, so I got the knee set very hard, and one thing I wanted you to notice about that I did had to go back and readjust that threshold because I set the knee to very hard. The compression started to kick in a lot later, which made me had to lower that threshold. So I did want to point that out. But now that we've gotten our threshold completely set, let's go ahead and do let's gain stage it and then do A and B real quick. And this is after our compression. All right, so I'm liking the way it sounds already, but there is a little bit more that can be done. Now, one knob we didn't talk about is this time constant knob. And what this does is it sets the attack and release. Now, each of these settings have a different attack and release. Now, when it comes to bass, we're going to want a fast attack, and then we're going to want a release that goes with the groove of this beat. So with that being in mind, the different type of attacks and releases for this compressor is on set. Go ahead and just bring up the chart just to make it very easy. So position 1, you get 0.2 and a 0.3 release. Position 2, you get a 0.2, 0.8 release. Position 3, you get a 0.4 point, and then you get a 2-second release. This isn't a 0.2, this is a 2 second. So this is a very slow release. This is a very slow release. Then on position 8, you get a very slow attack, which is 0.8, and then a very slow 5-second release. Position 5, the attack gets sped up again. So we're gonna be looking at position 2, 5, and 3, but we don't want 3 because it has a very slow release. And then we're gonna go probably try 5 or 2. So that's how we're gonna be looking. That's what we're going to be looking for our time constant, which is basically our attack and release. So let's go ahead and figure out which one sounds better out of the two. Let's go ahead and do that right now. All right, and to my ears, I'm going to go ahead and leave the time constant at 1 because that it fattened up our 808 a lot more than at setting 5. So with that being said, let's make sure our plugin is gain staged real quick. And again, I didn't address this side chain filter section because this is something I will more so use on drums. We're dealing with an 808 right now, and I didn't use this mix because this would be something if we were going to consider parallel compression, which not for this tutorial. So with that being said, let's give our 808 a complete before and after. This is before our compression. This is after our compression. All right, and as you can see, the 808 got much more full. It's hitting a lot more hard. So that's the tutorial for today. Like always, if y'all liked it, go ahead and give me a like. Hit me in the comment section if y'all got any questions or even any tutorial suggestions or plugin review suggestions. And what is it? Oh yeah, also subscribe. Y'all niggas be smooth. I'm out. Westside level gone.